Okay, everyone, today we're going to talk about Chapter 1.7, which is the constant rate of change. What we're going to learn today is we're going to find the constant rate of change by using a table and by using a graph. So let's talk about our vocabulary. Our first vocabulary is a linear relationship, and linear refers to the word line. A linear relationship is a relationship for which the graph is a straight line. When we talk about our rate of change, we talk about a rate that describes how one quantity changes in relation to another. So in a linear relationship or a line, the rate of change between any two quantities is the same. It is usually expressed as a unit rate. So for example, if you look at that little box in the corner, notice on one side it's plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, and on the other side it's plus 40, plus 40, plus 40. That quantity between the two quantities doesn't change. Now a constant rate of change is the rate of change in a linear relationship. So for example, we have 40 on one side and 5 on the other. So if we were to write that as a fraction, 40 over 5, we could find the unit rate, which we would divide by 5, and we would get 8 over 1. And that would be our constant rate of change, or 8 plus 8. Make sure you copy all of this into your notes. So let's look at our first example. It says the table shows the amount of money a booster club makes washing cars for a fundraiser. Use the information to find the constant rate of change in dollars per car. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find the unit rate to determine the constant rate of change. So let's write that down. Number 1. Find the unit rate to determine the constant rate of change. Okay, so how do we do that? First, we take the change in the money over the number of cards. So we have change in money divided by the number of cars. So if we look at our table, we see that the change in money is $40 and the change in the number of cars is 5. The money earned increases by $40 for every 5 cars. So we can say the money earned increases by $40 for every 5 cars. So if I divide by 5 now, I can reduce that and I get 8 over 1, $8 for 1 car. So now to explain my information, the last thing I do is I write the number of dollars earned increases by $8 for every car washed. Make sure you write everything down. So now, let's look at our second example. It says the graph represents the distance traveled while driving on a highway. Find the constant rate of change. So, the first thing that we have to do is to find the rate of change. We pick any 2 points on the line. So let's write that down. To find the rate of change, pick any 2 points on the line. So we're going to pick 0, 0, and 160. So the next thing that we do is we take the change in miles divided by the change in hours. So we have to subtract. So we always start with the same position in the pair. So let's take our second pair. We take our y value, 60 minus 0, and then our x value, 1 minus 0. So let's simplify that out. 60 minus 0 is 60. 1 minus 0 is 1. So we have a unit rate because we're down to 1. So now we know that the rate of change is 60 miles in 1 hour. Pretty simple. Let's look at example 3. In example 3, it says explain what the points 0, 0, and 160 represent. Well, that's from our previous example. So we can say that 0, 0 represents traveling. We've got time here and distance here. 0 miles in 0 hours. And then we can say 160 represents traveling 60 miles in 1 hour. So notice, this is important, notice that was the constant rate of change from our previous example. Okay. One more example. Okay, let's look at our last example. It says the table and graph show the hourly charge to rent a bicycle at 2 different stores. Which store charges more per bicycle? Explain. Well, the first thing we have to do is look at each example. So for pedals rental, we notice that the time goes up by 1 each time, and the cost goes up by 12 each time. So we can say pedal rentals, that the cost is 12 over 1, or it increases $12 every hour. So if we look at supercycles, we can look at this and we can say that the cost increases by, we've got to take our X and Y, so we're going to do money per hour, and we'll take our 2 points, so let's use 0, 0, and 1, 8. So we're going to use 0, 0, and 1, 8. So we do that subtraction, 8 minus 0, 1 minus 0, and we get 8 over 1. Or the cost increases by $8. Cost increases $8 per hour. So now, finally, we have to explain, so we can say pedals charges more per hour to rent a bicycle. Make sure you copy all this down. So now we have our OU problems. And there's 4 problems. Complete those and we'll see you in class tomorrow.